Everything is good? Yep, we're live. Hello out there, and welcome to yet another edition of the Midwest Speedfest Runner Spotlight. Back again, it's me, Newt. I'm hosting. Today, I'm joined by two very lovely people, Helix and Esoterics. How are you two doing today?
Which one of us is supposed to talk first? I don't know. We both were silent for like a
Just
second,
talk
so
at
I'm
the
just gonna
exact
start
same
speaking.
talk at the exact same
I'm waiting
time
for
the whole
you to
time.
You just someone in first, I guess. I don't know. I'm doing pretty well. How are you, Esoterics?
Well enough.
Well enough. Well,
Well
enough
enough.
is
That's all
good
you can
enough.
ask for.
Really, it is. You guys
No
surviving out in the cold today? I heard that there's a little bit of like snow flurries down in the cities this morning.
I haven't been out of my apartment in like a day and a half. So.
I
That's a
don't think
mood.
it reached us. We're a bit too, or I don't think it reached me. I'm a bit too far south.
Okay. That's fair. Well, welcome to the runner spotlight. It's always a good time out here. Now, both of you were asked to do this because of your run at Midwest Speedfest this year, or runs, I should say.
If you can count the second one, then yeah, I guess.
it all counts, I guess, in one way or another.
Did you do a second run?
Our second run was the expert any percent.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
It counts.
The
It
real
counts.
category.
It is the realist category. Yeah. So anyway, I guess we'll get a little bit more into that run and other run a little bit later. But for now, I just want to know a little bit more about either of you, and sort of the histories that you guys have with speedrunning and how you got into it. So, Helix, you could start. I know you've been around the community for a few years now, running, if I remember correctly, Super Monkey Ball and PM were two of the games that you really dug into more.
Yeah, I ran. When did I even start speedrunning? I don't remember. Probably like 3-4 years ago with Monkey Ball. I wasn't very good at Monkey Ball back then, and eventually I just dropped it for a while and started focusing on other stuff like PM, which I also eventually moved on from. And Disney's Extreme Skate Adventure was one. That's a nice meme game. And then there's Newt One, like an indie game. I just enjoy learning new games all the time. It's really cool to see
Yeah.
how the routes play out and what the tech is and all that stuff. I'm
Yeah.
also, of course, staff at Midwest Speedfest, so
Yes.
that was when I really started getting into things like summer 2017 during Midwest Speedfest when Gooby and I showed up and we were like, the marathon wasn't going great, so we were like, hey, do y'all need any help? And they were actually like, yeah, actually.
Oh, wow.
And so then we just kind of joined as staff from that point on.
Oh, wow. So you two just literally walked up and said, "Hey, you guys need any help?" And I did not know that was the origin story.
That's more or less how it happened. We were there for
Interesting.
Smash, and then we ended up getting involved with speedrunning.
Yeah, because I know you and Gooby did a lot of PM. Were big members of the Minnesota PM community.
Yeah, for sure.
And Esoterics, if I remember correctly, you've done a lot of stuff with Smash as well.
That is correct. The reason why I know Helix and Gooby is because of playing PM myself.
Yeah.
And the reason why this run happened is also partially because of that. I challenged him to this. Well, first off, I've always been a person who's had kind of a passing interest in speedrunning, but I never had gotten into it because I just never really had the motivation to.
Yeah.
But after Smash and Splash 5, is that the most recent one? Smash and Splash 5,
Yep.
yeah. At that tournament, which both Helix and I were at, as well as a lot of other people that both of us know. We were talking about speedrunning, and Helix was showing us a bunch of his stuff, and because I had been involved with Midwinter Speed Sprinter through a friend of mine, Hod, I was commentating his run at that particular marathon. I decided that I wanted to throw my hat into the ring, try something out, and I told him that I wanted to run Monkey Ball, and Helix said, "All right, well, you're gonna have to race me for it." So at this point, I have no speedrunning experience in Monkey Ball. I've only played it casually, and the amount of time that I'd played it casually was years in the past. So I had to order a new copy of the game because my old copy didn't work. I had to get all that ready, and we picked out a category. I mostly picked it out because it was race safe, and it didn't have a whole lot of competition. So I figured that even if we were basically starting from scratch, at least if I was, then we'd have a decent chance at both getting above the current world record when we started.
Yeah.
And that's eventually what ended up happening, and that led us to the run that we did at Speedfest.
Yeah, of course. That's fantastic. It's really awesome to have someone that you know well to sort of push each other in that regard.
Absolutely.
That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
I probably would have gotten back into Monkey Ball at some point, but not as soon and not to the level that I did without Esoterics.
Yeah. Really gave each other a drive to to be better. That's awesome. I I feel like that's starting to become more common these days as speedrunning is becoming more prevalent. More prevalent of, I don't really want to call it an esport, but something along those lines, and e-activity, something like that. It's nice to see people, meeting each other IRL and, having real IRL friends to compete with. It's awesome.
Absolutely. Very true.
Yeah. So, Esoterics, you're pretty new to the speedrunning scene. Do either of you want to talk about Smash a little bit and how you got into Smash originally too?
I can tell my story. I don't know what Esoteric's story even is.
You can go for it, and I'll follow up.
Okay. Where do I want to start? So I used to be really, really bad at Smash. Like, as a kid, I was...
Same.
Like everyone did.
Yeah.
No, but like, even from a casual standpoint, I was the worst out of my friends.
Okay.
But then Omega is his tag. I doubt any of you will know him except Esoterics. He showed me Project M. I was over at his house one day, and he's like, "Hey, there's this really cool brawl mod called PM." And I was still bad at that too for a while. But he always wanted to play it, and I was like, "Sure, this is fun enough." and he wanted to go competitive, and I was like, "Okay." So he helped like train all of us up. It was a big old friend group of like 4 or 5 people. We all wanted to get pretty good. Eventually, the 2 best players ended up being me and him, and we were both ranked in Minnesota for a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a long journey over the course of like 6 years. It takes a long time to get really good at Smash for most people, at least.
Yes, it does.
I also helped
I feel
run
that.
tournaments and stuff. But I credit Smash with helping me get past most of my like social anxiety issues and stuff like that.
Yeah, of course.
So without Smash, I probably wouldn't have speedrunning either, because that's how I met Gooby, and that's probably how I got into speedrunning. I think I would credit Gooby with most of my getting into speedrunning.
That's awesome. I totally get what you mean with Smash in that regard. I got into speedrunning before I got into Smash, but I did get a little bit into competitive Smash in college. And it was so much fun just like going out and hanging out with people and playing Smash the whole time. Like actually, going out and talking to people.
Yeah, it's super fun, and I learned a lot too. I actually can't believe I went this long without dropping my quote-unquote sponsored MD collaborations. They're just a group in Minnesota that runs tournaments and stuff, and I'm
Yeah.
a part of said group. So not technically a sponsor, but just an organization I'm part of.
Yeah.
They have taught me so much about how to run a good event and how to stream and all that kind of stuff.
Which, of course, can be used in multiple other facets of of life, not just, organizing a tournament, but organizing a speedrunning marathon and organizing other events too, just in general. That's awesome. Esoterics, what about you?
My story with Smash Brothers stretches back even a bit further.
Okay.
I started paying attention to competitive Smash around the summer of 2013.
Oh wow, okay.
I started paying attention to it just before the documentary came out
Yeah.
for Super Smash Brothers Melee that boosted its numbers massively.
Yeah.
And I don't think that it was just. I think that the documentary was a great thing, but I think it was also just the fact that so many of the kids who were in that age group that they grew up playing Super Smash Brothers Melee
Mm-hmm.
came of the age that they were able to start driving to things and paying for things to go to events at that time.
That's true, yeah.
So we saw that Melee renaissance take off around end of 2013, beginning of 2014, all the way into 2015. And I was there for that, riding that wave, because in the summer of 2013, I ended up really digging deep into all of it and kind of getting a head start on a lot of the people that came in. So when I started going to tournaments, I ended up doing pretty well just because I had been learning all the tech and all the matchups and such for quite a while before I started going, and that encouraged me to keep going. And for a while I did, and I was getting decent results. But I've ran into a problem with Smash Brothers that I get burnt out quickly,
Mm-hmm.
and I get in my own head, especially when I was younger. I had a lot of mindset issues when it came to playing competitively. So I've been playing on and off for, I guess, around 8 or 9 years at this point, and
Wow.
haven't really risen up in the rankings all that substantially until somewhat recently, because my performances, not only has my performance been inconsistent, but also just going to tournaments has been an inconsistent thing for me, because the
Yeah.
jobs I've had have been often getting me to work on weekends and weeknights when things like this would normally get scheduled.
Yeah, exactly. And going to tournaments is one of the biggest things to help you improve in the game too. Just
Yes.
like being there and playing with other people
Yeah,
at
half the
at
word
that
is
higher
showing
level.
up.
Yeah, exactly. I get that. But wow. Yeah, you've been around the Smash scene for a while. I didn't really start getting into competitive Smash until after a friend of mine showed me the documentary back in 2014. Then I went to a couple tournaments in college, but did not get into it as much as I kind of wish I had. But yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, so both of you sort of got involved in speedrunning through people that you met in Smash, which is fantastic. Most other people that I've talked to in the speedrunning community that are also involved in the Smash Bros community usually have gotten involved with Smash Bros through the speedrunning community and through their speedrunning friends. So that's really cool.
It doesn't surprise me that there's a lot of overlap between the two.
There is a lot of overlap between the two. I mean, just look at how competitive the GDQ Smash tournaments have gotten over the past few years.
Oh, yeah.
Right, so Helix, you've been involved with Midwest Speedfest then since the beginning. do you want to talk a little bit about? You talked a little bit about how you got involved. Do you want to talk about what your experience has been so far involved with this community?
Oh, real quick, I don't know if the beginning is fair to say, because 2017 is the beginning of like the modern era almost
Yeah.
of Midwest Speedfest, if you can call it that. But there was definitely like a few years ago. There's still been Sex Rex, especially,
Mm-hmm.
still has been pushing these events and been working on them. So I think calling it the beginning is not
Okay.
necessarily fair to people like him who have been pushing
Who was
this for as
actually
long as
there
they have.
since the beginning? Yeah.
Yeah.
Since before the beginning. No, it since yeah,
But
modern era of Midwest Speedfest is a good way to put that, and then pre 2017 maybe the classical era of Midwest Speedfest.
the retro era or something. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. The before times,
The Dark
the dark.
Ages.
Oh,
Anyway, yeah, you want to talk a little bit then about your experiences with Midwest Speedfest and your experiences with the community?
it's so the Midwest Speedfest events, especially our in-person events, probably the single thing I look forward to most every season. Even more than Smash events, even more than whatever the heck, more than holidays. It is a holiday for me, basically, but uh, it's really nice to just meet everyone and spend longer than a few hours with them.
Yeah,
Come back 2 3 days, hang out, do whatever. It's like it is basically a mini GDQ,
it
and it
is.
even it feels more. It almost feels more community focused, which maybe isn't necessarily the right term, but it's what's coming to mind right now
Yeah. No.
because it's a smaller group of people, it's a smaller event,
Mm-hmm.
but because of that, we're more closely intertwined,
Yeah.
and it's like Smash. It's taught me a lot, and has continued to help me get over my social anxiety and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and running these events has also allowed me to get even closer to people than I might otherwise. It's allowed me to, build friendships and all of that. And it has contributed to pulling me away from Smash. And it's why I almost entirely speedrun now, is mostly due to these events. These events are just so fun.
I feel that, but no, I totally get what you mean. With the closeness, because it is a smaller community and is a much closer knit community. GDQs are just so big these days that you get like these I sort of you get like cliques essentially of like these sub communities within like the GDQ community that just sort of operate on their own
Right.
instead of like the one collective, I guess, that is Midwest Speedfest.
Well, and us being so small is, I think, a part of why we're able to do such ridiculous things on stream. Like
Yeah,
throwing Kirby's at runners and having baguettes all over their room.
yeah, exactly.
It's it sort of gives us this flair too that other events don't have, and it makes it even more enjoyable to be a part of.
It does. No, it really does. And in a way it kind of reminds me of early GDQs, well, obviously like classic games done quick back in 2010, and then like the first couple of AGDQs where it was like a much smaller group of people together. Um, there was a lot more antics going on.
Yeah.
But, GDQ, with how big that it's gotten, they've had the push to increase the production and everything, that whole side of it. But yeah, I get that. And yeah, and Esoterics, you've been to a couple Midwest Speed Fest events now, starting back at
Yes,
Midwinter, correct?
that is correct.
And what have your thoughts been so far on Midwest Speed Fest?
Well, obviously Midwinter couldn't have been too bad because it didn't scare me off entirely.
No, that's
But
good.
yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. I I mentioned it already, but the reason why I was at Midwinter was to commentate a good friend of mine, Hod's Rogue Squadron speedrun.
Yeah.
When he said that he was going to be doing that, Uh, and I realized how long of a run that was going to be. I had to go through. I had to download his game, and the thing about Rogue Squadron is it's a very old game. If anyone's
Yes,
seen any gameplay of it, it is back
it's a game.
N64 era sort of game, and the PC version of it is not made to run on the current PCs that are out and about. So getting this game to run is the biggest struggle when it comes to speedrunning it.
Oh
Once
no,
you've
it's one of
gotten the
those.
game running,
Yeah.
then then it's all down to skill and technique and practice and all things that are under your control. But until you get to that point, you just kind of have to hope against hope that it works out.
You're like giving these like brand new computers this game. They're like, what do I do with this?
Yes.
What is this?
In fact, if you watch through the VOD of Hod doing the same run of the same game at Midwest Speedfest, you can see how much technical troubles went into just getting the game to display on the capture card.
Oh
Because
man.
Hod's normal method of running it just did not output any display data to the capture card. So we had to use like third-party software to run it in its own little individual window. It's a mess, but it was a lot of fun. We all had a blast doing
That's
it.
what counts.
And when it came time for when we all finished with school and Smash and Splash came rolling around, and we were gonna have the lull after that, where everyone would be burnt out from Smash Brothers and want something different to do. Suddenly, I have Monkey Ball plopped in front of me.
Let's go, Monkey Ball.
We just grinded it out.
That's awesome. And yeah, then that's what brings both of you here is your race of Monkey Ball at Midwest Speedfest. You want to talk a little bit about that run and how that went?
That was like a couple months ago at this point.
It was a little bit ago. I distinctly remember it going somewhat poorly for me.
As marathons tend to do.
I did not deal with the nerves of being on stage well.
That's okay. It happens.
It does happen. And in Monkey Ball, which is a game that requires a lot of subtle analog movements, being nervous is not something you can afford.
I mean, it was your first ever marathon run, right?
Yes, that is true.
That's understandable. I've had a lot of experience with marathons already, and I think that's why I was able to do like a lot better than I did compared to my last time running Monkey Ball at one of these events. I have a lot more experience with the situation in general.
Sure.
The last time you played Monkey Ball at one of these events, I believe I'm correct, is the first Midwest Speedfest marathon that I went to. Was that Midfall Speedball 2017?
That sounds right. Something like that.
Yeah, because
something at Rocket's house.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I might be wrong then.
Yeah.
Because Midfall Speedball that year was at Level Up.
Oh yeah.
And I swear you played Monkey Ball there though, because I played Marble Blast, and then I think you had a Monkey Ball run right after that, and we had the ball block.
I probably did. I think there was one event at Rocket's house. Maybe it was midwinter 2018 or something, the first event of 2018.
Yeah.
Where I ran a Monkey Ball 2 randomizer. And I've had this exact situation stuck in my head for a while, where there's this pause strat I wanted to show off, which I can get into more a little bit later, but I kept missing it like 4 times in a row.
Oh man.
5 times in a row, and at that point it would have just been faster to do the stage normally.
You have to do the trick though. It's like you once you commit.
Yeah.
You have to go with it.
It was midwinter 2018.
Yep.
That has stuck out in my head because that's something I never want to happen to me again during a marathon.
No, I feel that. Speaking of marathons, you've got one coming up, Helix, in a couple months here.
Darn right, I got one coming up. It's called Midfall Speedball. Y'all should go watch that.
Let's go Midfall Speedball. That's November 15th through the 17th for those of you watching. Um,
Do not miss it. Lots of good runs.
but other than that, we know for sure that you're running Monkey Ball at another marathon in January,
Yeah,
a little
we got
marathon.
Distant Star Cares coming up in just a week here. Like Monkey Ball races, we got more Monkey Ball races.
Oh man. but yes. Congratulations, Helix, on getting into AGDQ. I'm really looking forward to that. Do you want to tell me a little bit about what you've been doing to prepare for that event?
Coming Saturday.
Hmm?
You kind of cut out there.
Cut out for a second.
I'm gonna blame Discord. First of all, thank you. Second of all, I have been playing the crap out of the video game. Esoterics and I have pushed our category, all difficulties, no extra warpless, which recently went through a name change. We've been pushing that category so hard lately.
Yes.
And when we started, the record was a 24:04, and now it's a 21:13.
Oh
not
my
actually
gosh.
held by me. I am in second place though, but
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I went from holding the record at the end of when Midwest Speedfest happened to now dropping all the way down into fifth because not only has our run drawn more attention to the category,
Mhm.
and getting the run into GDQ also has drawn some attention to the category. There's been a tournament that's been happening in this category for the past few weeks now, and
That's awesome.
this category within the monkey ball community has just sort of blown up, and we've been getting all these amazing runners who have taken notice of
That's
it
amazing.
and put a lot of time and effort into it. It's been sick.
That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
I think part of the reason I got into GDQ is because I've been putting so much work in. I don't know if they noticed that. Like I think they check and see if runners are streaming the games that they submit and stuff like that. And I was streaming this game like as much as I could, which isn't terribly often because I'm so busy with college and everything. But I can't help but feel like that contributed in some way.
It could have. It's just also an awesome game, an awesome category, and you're an awesome runner too at that.
It's also the first time Monkey Ball will be shown at a GDQ in like a year and a half. So I think
Yeah,
that's
it's been a
another good
while.
thing. Yeah, it's.
Great
I'm
to see.
surprised. I'm surprised I got in though over some of the other Monkey Ball runners because there are like 3 of the top Monkey Ball 2 runners, including the world record holder, submitted a race for Monkey Ball 2 story mode all levels, and that would have been something incredible.
That would have been sick.
So I'm a little surprised they didn't accept that.
Yeah.
But either way, I'm very grateful to be able to participate in that event and represent the community.
Yeah, Monkey Ball 2 was the last Monkey Ball game to be ran at a GDQ, though, hasn't it?
This is true, which is probably why they didn't accept it.
Yeah, that
It was
could
the
be.
same category, too, so.
Okay. Huh. It was. Well, that probably has a lot to do with it. Although a race of that caliber would be really, really cool to see.
Absolutely.
So yeah, you've got that coming up. Looking a little bit further ahead past mid-fall and past GDQ, I just wanted to ask you guys what sort of your speedrunning ambitions are right now. What are the plans that you have moving forward, if you have any plans that far out?
I've stated already that I'm going to learn Super Monkey Ball 2 after GDQ.
Okay.
I've been interacting with some people from sort of that side of the Monkey Ball community. They do overlap quite a bit, but I've been in their streams. Super Monkey Ball 2 is a little bit more popular than Super Monkey Ball 1. And that's actually, I think, the first category I ever started to speedrun was Super Monkey Ball 2 story mode. So it'll be really cool to jump back into that and try to actually get a really good time now that I'm way better at the video game.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. That's awesome.
There's also New 1 that I want to keep pushing.
Yes. Which is a beautiful game, and I swear I'll get to it at some point. I promise you, I'll play it at some point once I get a controller that will actually allow me to play the game.
That's such a bizarre problem.
It is.
Really strange.
It is the weirdest problem. Did you now? Speaking of Newt One, just want to go off on a tangent. Did I see that? Was it Switch Pro controller support was added for the game, or was that always?
It already had that.
Okay.
All my runs have been done on a Switch Pro.
Okay. Well, just wanted to make sure.
The game has since come out on every major console though.
Awesome. It's such a pretty game.
Yeah.
And the movement is really cool too.
I want to hear about Esoterics' future
Yeah,
plans.
I do too.
So I am not quite as tied down to Monkey Ball, given that the only thing I need to prepare for is sitting on a couch. But I've gotten a couple of different directions that I might want to go with it. There are a couple of games I have in my back pocket that I'm somewhat interested in learning. And I've been trying to get someone else to run it with me, because I find it a lot easier to motivate myself when I have someone to measure myself against, especially someone who's getting into the game just sort of out of the gate. So one of the things I've been looking into is I've been, of course, combing my back catalog of all the games that I have nostalgia for and already have a level of familiarity with. And I'm thinking that Hod and I are going to start preparing a race of Star Fox Command.
Oh, let's go.
On the Wii U Virtual Console.
Yeah.
For mid-winter Speed Sprinter.
Yes, that'd be awesome.
So we're going to be starting to get into that, and that'll be a bunch of fun, I'm sure. Yeah. And I've been continuing to run my side game at this point, which is a game that I really like from my childhood. Most people are already familiar with Excite Bike and by extension Excite Truck on the Wii. But there is a somewhat lesser-known sequel that came out to Excite Truck on the Wii called Excitebots Trick Racing, which is a fantastic game.
Okay, I have not heard of that game.
Which I enjoy quite a bit, and would have submitted to Midfall Speedball had I not gone back to try to make a submission video and found out that my disc wasn't working.
Oh, no.
So that's my own mistake for trying to do it last minute, but I have ordered another copy, and so I'll keep running that in the future.
Yeah.
But it's a racing game, and it scares a lot of people off with the motion control, but it requires a lot of precision out of the player because of the way that the maps are designed and the way that and how fragile your vehicles are. Any time you brush against an obstacle, you just instantly crash. So there's a pretty high skill cap to it, and it's just a heck of a lot of fun. So that'll probably be where a lot of my focus is going, but I'm also doing more Monkey Ball things because I've already gotten the groundwork laid. So
yeah.
I'll continue to work my way up doing that.
Awesome. For sure. Gooby's popping off about Excitebots in the chat.
Gooby, run Excitebots!
Come on, Gooby.
Do it! Please, Gooby. I want more people that run Excitebots, okay? We've gotten... so I made this page along with my younger brother because he also has a lot of nostalgia for it. And we went over there and we made our speedrun page, and we started doing some research, figuring out how we're going to play this game, how we're going to beat it as fast as we can. And we end up finding a lot of IL records because the game keeps track of in-game time. So people have been doing IL records for this game for a while now. And we started implementing those IL strats into our runs, but we had a lot of questions. So we found this forum website from years ago where there are some people who used to race this game online that still hang out there. And I go on there and I'm like, "Hi, I have some questions. How do we run this game?" And one of the guys who's been running this game for years, apparently nonstop, just decides that he sees my post and he goes on and he smashes the world record in the main category by like
Yes.
5 whole minutes.
Oh my god.
And it is like an hour-long category, so that's
That's a significant
not...
amount of time.
But yeah, so he just kind of picked it up and said, "Hey, I can do this," and he just destroyed my record. So it's it's been a fun time. It's been an interesting experience.
How much does a disc cost for the game?
How much does a disc cost for that game?
Yeah.
Let's see, where did I get this? I don't remember it being that much, or else I might have had
okay.
qualms about it.
Just one of those other Wii games that... Let's get some Excitebots.
Amazon has it for like $20.
That's not too bad.
You can get it used for much less.
GameStop has a pre-owned copy for $2.99.
See, there you go.
That means that there is no excuse for people to not play this game.
Get
$2.50. That's
if Newt 1 is Helix's pet project, then this is my pet project. I love this game. I want people to play this game. I know there's motion controls, but like these are some of the least intrusive motion controls that are in any game, because the Wii remotes, you can exploit them in so many ways.
That's true.
Like make them do large movements with small ones, and you can just get away with so much.
$2.50. That's actually less than I paid for Balls of Fury at GameStop. So that's really no excuse.
Absolutely not.
That's fantastic. I want to pedal backwards a little bit. Pseudo Trainer had a question about what your thoughts were on the pauseless categories for Monkey Ball.
Oh boy, let's open this can of worms. So, for those that are unaware, Super Monkey Ball has a couple of mechanics that make it very highly exploitable by using the pause button.
Mm-hmm.
Firstly, Monkey Ball is entirely deterministic. If you hold down the exact same inputs, you will get the exact same outputs every single time.
It's sick.
That is
Secondly, because of the octagonal gates on a GameCube controller, you can get very specific inputs. If you hold up throughout the run, you are going to get exactly up every time that you do it without hardly any effort at all. And there are already a lot of stages, even without using pause strats, where you can hold a certain direction to get a certain setup consistently. Thirdly, Monkey Ball has no limit to the amount of pauses that you can do, and you can act immediately out of said pauses. So what this means is that if I hold the same direction and then switch it at a frame perfect moment and hold another direction, I can get a consistent frame perfect set of inputs every single time that I play a level. And this means that we can do strats in Monkey Ball that would otherwise be completely task exclusive. By pausing, looking at the timer, which goes all the way down to the frame, and then adjusting from gate to gate on the controller as needed, and watching your monkey either get a setup that helps them fly into the goal, or oftentimes just completely go straight into it just by having these predetermined inputs. So, this is tough to do, especially tough to do fast, because you are trying to get individual frame perfect inputs when you're doing this. And what that often means is that you have to deal with polling. And how polling works is the game checks for inputs on every frame, every 60th of a second. However, because when you start the game when you unpause the game, you're not necessarily pausing it perfectly on those frame intervals.
Mm-hmm.
So if you, let's say I have to pause at frame point 0.5 or 0.50.
Mm-hmm.
Then if I press the pause button on frame 0.50, and then I need to unpause it and get another frame later, if I pause at the beginning of the frame that the game is pulling on, then my timing is slightly different than if I have to pause later in that frame. And it means that this strategy becomes hard to get consistently because
Yeah.
you have to adjust these slightly different timings for cues that you can't even really see. So the way that you get good at pausing is you just get good at getting in the general ballpark of these tiny, less than a frame windows.
Oh my god.
And the people who are the best at it can do it incredibly quickly. The world record holder in most of the main categories for Super Monkey Ball 1, his tag is Callum. He will get these 60th of a second inputs, usually on second try. So you pause it once, a couple of frames before,
That's
and then
nuts.
you read out and you say, okay, I have to wait exactly X number of frames, you unpause it and you pause it again. So this is hard to do, especially to do it fast. But you could absolutely make the argument that you're not really playing Monkey Ball when you're playing it this way. You're mostly just replaying a task.
Yeah.
And all the subtleties that go into Monkey Ball's movement and make it the infamously difficult game that it is, kind of fall to the wayside when you play the game like this.
Mm-hmm.
And
yep.
Monkey Ball 2 in the past, and now more recently Monkey Ball 1, with all the innovations we've seen in pauses lately, has become a very different game depending on if you play it with the pause button or without it.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been splitting the game up into separate categories so that people who want to play the game in its more intended state, where movement is king, can play it in that sort of category, and then people who either A, want to beat the game as fast as possible, no holds barred, or B, people like me who are just getting started and need a crutch, can play with pauses, and that's sort of how things have gone. But there's always been a bit of disagreement over what category is the true category, and you will see that, I'm sure, in every speedrun category that has ever existed.
Yes, that's very true.
Yeah.
So that's the long and short of. I apologize if I'm rambling a little bit on it, but it's been something that has been in the.
I love it.
Talking points of the community for a while now, and it's just sort of become a part of the game itself. So.
It's a discussion that comes up like literally every day. I don't even know if that's an exaggeration.
Midwest Speedfest runner spotlight, but every time Esoterics says pause, it speeds up.
Someone get to work on that.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But personally, I like both categories.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There are people who have like put a stake in one or the other, saying I am a pause runner and I am proud of it, or I am a pause runner and I am proud of it. I think they're both sick, and Helix also thinks they're both sick, and yeah.
Kind of like the split in the communities in I want to say Mario Kart, like the 150 versus 200 cc.
Oh,
categories.
Sure. Yeah, kind of.
But maybe not as contended as as that. Oh man. So we're gonna move on to another topic quick, but before those of you in chat, feel free to start sending out your questions for Helix and Esoterics. Ask them anything and I'll pull it up and As they do that, I just wanted to ask you guys what some of your other hobbies are outside of speedrunning. What are the other things that you do to fill up your free time other than, well, speedrunning and Smash?
I longboard occasionally. I just longboarded
Nice.
like 6 miles to a friend's party the
Oh my
other day. I originally had a ride, but it turns out my ride had something to do and he couldn't make it till later. So I was
Yeah,
like,
Helix doesn't
screw it.
drive cars, so he has
Yeah.
to find alternatives.
Usually that's Esoterics here giving me a ride.
That's often what ends up happening. Yeah.
Ooh.
But I find my way
Longboarding is
around.
cool.
Yeah. Other than that, I just play various other video games. Lots of them being GameCube games, GameCube and Wii games, because that's kind of what I grew up with.
Big mood.
That's really all I do. Like otherwise I have college and work, and that takes up so
That
much. of my
takes
time.
up a lot of extra time. Yeah, it's not really a fair question to ask of you. What about you, Esoterics?
I'm also living the college student with
Okay.
not an incredible amount of social life outside it. Between that and having my work schedule, like I said, take up a lot of evenings and weekends for me. Those are where a lot of my time goes into. And the nice thing about speedrunning is that I can just kind of fit that in whenever I want.
Yeah.
But I also have a lot of other different games that I play with friends, and I also am part of a weekly Dungeons and Dragons campaign.
Let's go.
And a lot of fun. And I also am part of the local table tennis league whenever I can be.
Oh, nice.
In my home city. So
That's awesome. Do you want to give me a little rundown of your current D&D character?
my current D&D character? Oh gosh, I'm playing a Dragonborn cleric.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Who was basically raised in a cult and is thus knows nothing about the world and has to be kind of introduced to things by other characters and other party members, which worked well because
That's fun.
I am somewhat new to D&D, and
Oh,
it's
nice,
very
yeah.
character for me to have no idea what I'm doing.
That's awesome.
But I'm having a lot of fun with it, so it's good.
I need to play more D&D. I need to
Everyone
get to
should
that.
play more D&D.
Everyone should play more D&D. There's a couple
I've
questions in chat, by the way. Of course, the first one is, what are your thoughts on pesto, and why is it the besto?
There's no explaining it. If you don't think pesto is the besto, you just can't handle the sheer power of pesto. That's all there is to it.
Hey, man, I don't think I've ever had straight pesto in
Whoa.
my life before. And so,
Hold up.
knowing that,
we'll fix that.
knowing that, I think I have to defer to the experts here and agree that pesto could be nothing but the besto.
I will bring more pesto to any event that I show up to. If you missed out, I brought pesto to Midwest Speedfest this year, and it was amazing and delicious.
Bring pesto to AGDQ.
Oh god, that'll get confiscated like by
I know.
airport security.
It would.
Well, that would be the best though. Like show up and TSA's going through my bag and like, what the hell is this? And it's a little container of pesto.
Set up a gray market pesto trading ring around GDQ.
Oh man.
Gotta go all in, man.
Scarian doesn't even know what pesto is.
What?
Somebody ban Scarian.
Oh no.
God.
Scary, and I'm so sorry.
Scarian also has another question. Wondering where your screen names came from, where your tags came from. Little origin stories there.
Helix is just kind of something I threw at a wall and it stuck.
It's a good one.
It was mostly inspired by Twitch Plays Pokemon.
Okay, that was gonna be my question.
Yeah, it's like sort of a reference to it, but it's not necessarily all it is. Because I
Yeah.
just needed something. I was going to my first Smash tournament and I needed something. Because I wasn't going to enter as Luke, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what I threw. That's what stuck. At my first tournament, though, the guy actually spelled it wrong. He spelled it with 2 E's.
Helix.
What?
Yeah.
Ow!
It was karma. Like, Esoterics knows what I'm talking about. It was crazy.
That's amazing.
Helix.
Yeah, but
Holy cow, okay.
it's become a second name for myself. I have to stop myself in real life from referring to myself as Helix sometimes.
I feel there was
Says Luke Helix.
Yeah.
there's a speedrunner that I met in college, Yellow Torpedo or Torp, and I was hanging out with him like at a bar in Fargo once, and I accidentally like turned to him and called him Torp instead of his real name, and I was like, oh my god, I'm sorry.
I have had some of my closest friends accidentally call me Helix IRL.
Oh my god.
It's really good.
And what about you, Esoterics?
So I have cycled through a lot of tags over the years because for lots of different reasons. Mostly because of the fact that I am horribly indecisive and can never stay on one thing for too long. I've finally, like, for instance, one of the tags that I had at one point was Knight. And I had to change that tag because there was another existing player in the Minnesota Melee community, also named Knight, who was way better than me.
I know Knight, I think.
So that obviously was a bust because I can't go entering tournaments with that. So then I swapped it to something else, and eventually I got tired of that. So now I'm on the name Esoterics, and the reason why I settled on it is because I tried to choose names in the past that I thought were cool. And the problem with cool is what you think is cool changes from time to time.
It does.
And if you pick something that was cool at one point, it seems very last year when you look at it later. So what I've finally done is I've finally gone, okay, I went to my friends and I've like said, what defines me as a games player? And they're like, you cheese us out with a bunch of BS all the time. Because I play characters like Zelda and Sheik, which grab you once, and then they just kind of take you on a roller coaster ride of gaining more and more percent.
At least you're not a Sonic player.
And even in other games I've played, I'll like do really weird strategies and just like insane stuff that no one would expect, just because it's some combination of not knowing what I'm doing and trying to work out the game's rules from an outside perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So I settled on this name as a combination of esoteric, which means kind of difficult to parse or understand, and then antics.
Okay.
Something you do. So esoteric antics basically means that I've named myself after the cheesy bullshit that's apparently defined.
It's awesome though.
It's me as a player.
It's a sick name. I still think it's cool.
It's good.
That.
It's good.
It's a good one for sure. Oh man, who's is there? What are I've been missing chat a little bit. Haven't been keeping up.
Scarian asked Banana Blitz like a bit ago. Maybe I really need to focus on Monkey Ball Run right now.
Maybe if they fix the collision.
Oh man.
Maybe, oh god, yeah. I was playing a demo and I fell straight through a platform multiple times. So.
Yeah, they got some stuff to iron out quick.
I'm gonna wait for the reviews before I buy that game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Pseudo has another question for Helix. When are Pokemon runs? Gonna pick up Red anytime soon?
When there are 48 hours in a day instead of 24.
Good answer.
That's a good answer. Oh man. Yeah. Well, last minute questions in. Otherwise, I think we're ready to start getting wrapped up. So, yeah, thank you guys so much for coming out and doing this. I always really enjoy doing these. It's awesome to get to hang out and talk to people. Before we go, I just wanted to say a couple things. Midfall Speedball submissions have closed as of yesterday. as of just a few hours ago. In fact, so stay tuned. November 3rd, if I have that correct, is when you'll be streaming the reveal, the schedule reveal.
Yes, that will be November 3rd, this Sunday, November 3rd at 5 p.m. Central Time. You
Awesome.
can find me and Commander on the mic introducing the schedule. Y'all aren't ready. The schedule is stacked.
There are a lot of awesome submissions for this event so far.
Clear your weekend now.
It's already clear. I'm ready. There are so many awesome submissions. I can't wait. So stay tuned for that. And then, of course, Midfall Speedball will be airing on this channel November 15th through the 17th. Like Helix said, clear out your schedules because I'm looking forward to seeing what this schedule is going to look like. Yeah. So that is that, and now it is up to you two to pick out who we are going to host after this. And we'll take that from a list of previous runners. I see Moonblaze Wolf is playing Fire Emblem Three Houses. Nixoman is playing Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone.
You know, I would plug my Twitch and everything, but I'm pretty sure everyone in chat already follows me on Twitch.
Oh, yeah. Hold on. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I had a brain fart. God, I didn't write that down. Yes. Before we go, follow these two, Helix and Esoterics, on their respective channels. Follow them on Twitch. Follow them on Twitter. We will have links to all of that stuff below. Both of you are just Helix, your Helix on those. Esoterics, your Esoterics on those, correct?
No.
No?
Helix is way too common for that.
Okay, well, Helix 13.
Underscore.
It is underscore. Okay.
Here, I'll post a link.
Yes, I do not have a Twitter account, but my Twitch account is Esoterics __.
Okay. Otherwise, the roundabout way of doing it is going to the speedrun.com page, because I know both of you are Helix. You're just Helix there, and Esoterics is Esoterics there. You can find
one thing I have
all of their
Helix.
links through that. Awesome. Yeah. So click those links in chat. And if you're watching the VOD or whatever, you'll find them somewhere. Yeah, so who do you want to host?
Who was live? I heard Moonblaze, and that's all I remember.
Moonblaze, Nixoman. I'm not sure if if this channel is following other channels. Otherwise, there's Ploff playing Super Metroid, Oddbod playing Celeste, and Conception playing Pokemon Red and Blue.
I would say Oddbod because Oddbot is like a top Celeste runner who has submitted Celeste to Midfall Speedball, so I think that would be a really good preview of what y'all are going to see at Midfall.
Oh, okay. What we are going to see at Midfall.
Yes. Hint, hint.
Hint, hint.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Wink, wink. Yeah. All right, cool. So we'll host Oddbot here in a second. And thank you guys again for coming out and doing this and talking about your games and yourselves. And yeah.
Thank you.
We'll catch you all later.
Continuing to do these runner spotlights.
I have a lot of fun with it. All right. And host. There we go.